Disney's Disability Access Service, or DAS, is a system that allows for a guest with a qualifying disability, screened and approved by Disney, to reserve an attraction at any of Disney's domestic parks in advance and wait to board that attraction after the listed wait time has passed. Unfortunately, Disney's update to the DAS system has severely restricted those that are approved for it, with this decision being heavily criticized to the point that a lawsuit has been filed. Now, Disney may have responded to at least some of that backlash. Let's talk about an update to Disney's Disability Access Service, and curiously, just before the opening of Epic Universe, here on That Park Place.
I feel bad that so much of the news is negative, but that is just kind of the nature of the beast right now, and it doesn't get more negative in Walt Disney World, and I guess Disneyland as well, than the DAS system, the Disability Access Service. So, on paper, this is actually a good thing, right? Disney extends Disability Access Service, or DAS, eligibility to 1 year, but keeps the controversial screening system in place. Now, this is obviously it's the good with the bad. Now, Walt Disney World has quietly updated its Disability Access Service, also known as DAS, program once again, extending its eligibility period for up to 1 year for qualifying guests. While this longer validity may sound like good news for annual pass holders, the move does little to address the ongoing criticism surrounding how the service is implemented and who is now being denied. Previously, the DAS validity period increased in stages, started off at 30 days, which was a nightmare for people, to 120 days in May 2024, and then 240 days in September. Now the eligibility can last for up to a full year or the length of a ticket, whichever is shorter. On paper, it's a logistical improvement, but for many guests, the real problem begins before the clock even starts ticking. Of course, Vash, by that I mean the interview process. In 2024, Disney made sweeping changes to the DAS program, narrowing eligibility to those with developmental disabilities like autism who cannot wait in a conventional queue for extended periods. Now, this came shortly after the broad rollout of Disney's free Fast Pass replacement system, Genie Plus, which is now known as Lightning Lane or Lightning Lane Premier, which is a paid service. As a result, the company introduced a new vetting process. Guests could now complete a mandatory, often uncomfortable one-on-one interview with a Disney cast member, and during the interview, guests are asked pointed questions intended to determine whether they qualify, aka they're trying to trip you up and look for any excuse to deny you. Now, crucially, Disney refuses to accept any medical documentation as proof of a disability. Even if a guest presents a formal diagnosis from a licensed healthcare provider, the cast member will not take it. They will not even consider it. This has led to widespread frustration, particularly among families with neurodivergent children who may not fall neatly into Disney's narrow guidelines. Now, what's more, guests are struggling with extreme autism or an enhanced anxiety disorder have reported feelings of panic and discomfort at the review process, which, Vash, I do believe keeps people from applying for it, which is probably part of what Disney wants.
Right.
For many, it feels like an interrogation more than an accommodation. Now, of course, Disney has been super smug about telling people that they should practice waiting in line with their neurodivergent family members. So according to the Walt Disney World website, waiting in line is a regular part of the Walt Disney World resort experience. The site goes on to recommend the families practice waiting with the guest with a neurodivergent disability at home or in lines at places they may already frequent. Yeah, guys, train for your Disney vacation. Bring your neurodivergent kid to the grocery store at 3 p.m. and just stand in line. Bring them there the day before a holiday and be like, we're training, Timmy. Don't melt down in the middle of this line. It's absolutely ridiculous. But, Vash, the big story there, they are extending the validity for a year. So, annual pass holders will no longer have to keep doing that uncomfortable interview multiple times in a year.
Yeah, and I think this is great that they are extending this out a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, you're still talking about a slightly broken system to the point where, we know that Disneyland anyway is getting sued over the implementation of the Disability Access Service because of a myriad of issues related to providing that service to guests who feel that they need it and have been denied, maybe even multiple times before. So this is a sad state for this service right here, because I think it did actually fulfill many people's needs that were outside the scope of what Disney has tried to limit this to, and so now you have a system by which, if you're in for a year, that's great, but so many people are left on the outs that this is little recompense for them.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's the most pandering thing in the world to be like, practice waiting in line. Like, come on, man. Like,
it's terrible. And we know we've outlined so many of the different issues here on that Park Place. It's actually something that we've taken a keen interest in because we know that this affects so many people, and so many so many of you out there want to know everything related to this, because previously Disney has gone out of their way to assist those and be what is a source of joy and inspiration to people who have issues.
Until there was a financial incentive for them.
Right. And we all know what that is. We know it was Judy Plus, aka Lightning Lane. So
But you know what, Vesh, you know who has paid line skipping services? Universal and SeaWorld, and they've always had them. And if you compare what Disney does to what Universal and SeaWorld do, now they utilize a third-party system to evaluate disability access needs. The system accepts medical documentation and provides guests with appropriate accommodations without the need for a judgment-based interview. For families already overwhelmed by the logistics of theme park visits, this approach offers both dignity and efficiency. Approved guests are given an IBCCES access card, which is digital. It's on an app. They only need to show this to a Universal or SeaWorld guest services employee, and they're given their accommodations with no fuss. I don't understand, especially now at a point where Disney's like, well, this is for, neurodivergent people, at a time in which, and I mean no offense here, guys, but anybody in the world right now who is even slightly socially awkward claims that they're autistic now. And that's why I think it's vital to have that doctor's note that's like, yes, this is a person that medically needs this. That's how you get around it. Now, I don't know why Disney has avoided the IBCCES system, because even Six Flags does it. I'm sure Knott's Berry probably does it too. But Universal, SeaWorld, all the major theme parks use this system, and it works very, very well. You upload your documentation to the third-party provider. They approve it. You never have to talk to anybody at Universal about it. You just show them the card. They put in your access number. It pops up in the system as, yes, this person needs this service, and boom, no questions asked.
Yeah. I know there are complications on, let's say, the proprietor's end as they interface with a third party right there. That could be an issue, but from the guest facing side, that should be far better. And from what I've heard, it is far better system than the DAS system. I think the DAS system, where that gets most criticized, is how the guest interfaces with Disney in order to get onto that system. Whereas the third-party system that Universal, SeaWorld, and so many others use is far better in that regard. Now, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, once you're approved, it is a far superior system because Disney is a far superior system once you're approved, because you can actually manage your accommodations on an app, on the My Disney Experience app. There is a tab for disability access service, and you go in there, you select it just like any regular Lightning Lane, and then it gives you your comeback time on the now, like Universal and SeaWorld, they provide you like a piece of paper that you have to bring around with you all day and get filled out at all the rides, and it's a whole mess. Once Universal is able to actually put their disability service on an app, I think that it's going to be big for them to be able to offer a much more well-rounded experience. So sorry, you were saying.
Oh, well, I wanted to ask you about that well-rounded experience. Do you think, because the timing is very interesting on this, there's really no reason why this should be extended at this specific point in time here, other than Epic Universe's opening. And this is kind of why it's included here in this Epic Week coverage, because is there a chance that Disney might be looking at what's going to be on offer at Universal and looking at the, relative simplicity of the experience over there, and they're like, well, how can we streamline some of our systems in order to, maybe get some guests over here? Do you think that's part of it, or do you think this is in isolation completely?
I'm on the fence, because part of me thinks yes, because they do want to sweeten the pot for annual pass holders right now, because there are no annual passes to Epic Universe. The local market, Disney still kind of has for the time being, at least until we get an Epic Universe annual pass, Disney has got the market cornered on locals to go to Epic Universe. As even if you're a Universal annual pass holder, it still will cost you upwards of $100 each time you go. So yeah, it's possible that they are just trying to sweeten the pot for APs a little bit. I noticed they started doing the VI pass holder stuff again at Disney. All of a sudden, pass holders are their best friends now that they're going to be their bread and butter. Now that vacationers, the people that they actually want, are probably going to be splitting their time between Universal and Walt Disney World now.
and I think that's a point that we should focus on there. Annual pass holders are the only ones that that most benefit from a system change like this, because I don't think there's really any way for Disney to track guests who have, let's say, buy in a new ticket type 6 months later. So this really does assist, I think, annual pass holders the most, who otherwise
it solely assists annual pass holders, because if you were to go in January and then you go again in September, it doesn't carry over. It's attached to your ticket. So as when the ticket is for a year, it's good for the entire validity of your ticket.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So I just think it's very interesting how Disney has changed this system. I think it's very interesting, the restrictions that they once placed on it. They've made maneuvers in order to be, maybe make the process easier, or maybe include more people, because we know that as part of that lawsuit, they did change that limiting language there right before that lawsuit dropped. So again, it's a story that we will keep abreast of, so that way we can go ahead and provide you all the information related to this specific disability access service.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.